Hello teachers! Have you ever observed your pupils comparing himself to other classmates? How about comparing your pupils from your given standards and criteria? Okay, let's talk about Criterion and norm reference assessment. Norm reference are tests designed to compare student performance against the performance of their peers. The types of norm reference include IQ tests and physical assessments. Norm reference assessments are most useful when measuring student achievement to determine the following: language ability, grade readiness, college admission decision. So, Criterion reference compares student knowledge and skills against predetermined standard, CAT score, other criterion. In Criterion reference test, the performance of other students does not affect student score. In the classroom, this means measuring student performance against grade level standards and include end of the unit or final test to assess student understanding. This is the norm reference and criterion reference. Let us differentiate the two. Norm reference assessment compare the score of an individual to a group of their peers, while the criterion reference assessment compare the score of an individual to a learning standard. So there is a prescribed standards in criterion. Classroom assessment is a significant factor that we need to consider in measuring learners' ability. In fact, in your classroom assessments, generally have three purposes: the assessment of, assessment for, assessment as learning. And let us differentiate the three terms. So let us ponder. What is assessment of learning? Assessment of learning. You can use this to help identify if students are meeting the grade level standards. The common types of this is the summative assessment, norm reference, and criterion reference assessment. It is usually done before the end of the quarter unit, such as exam, portfolios, and final projects. About what is assessment for learning? It provides you with clear snapshot of students' learning and understanding as you teach. Assessment for learning should always be ongoing and actionable. This is usually done before the end of the class session or meetings such as quizzes and other exercises. Type of assessment for learning include formative assessment and diagnostic assessment. Take note that assessment for learning and assessment as learning are both formative assessment. The differences is that for learning, teachers-driven, as learning, learners-driven. What is assessment as learning? It actively involves students in the learning process. It teaches critical thinking skills for students. So let's take a look and overview. Norm reference assessment compares the score of the student to the group, while criterion reference compares the score of the student against the prescribed standards. Let's talk about assessment of for as learning. Assessment of learning is summative assessment done before the end of the unit, quarter, or period. Assessment for learning is formative assessment, which is teacher-driven, and assessment as learning, formative assessment, but student-driven. So I am Teacher Carlo, your discussant for today, and here are my references.